It was supposed to be a quick overnight camping trip. Just me, my camera, and a forest I thought I knew like the back of my hand. I left my car by that familiar dirt road around 5 p.m. Just as the sun started to dip below the tree line. The plan was simple. Hike in a little, set up camp, and shoot some moody night shots. You know, fog rolling through the trees, the stars, the usual stuff. As I walked, I noticed the place was quiet. Like, asterisk. 2. You know, that kind of silence that feels heavy, like the air itself is holding its breath and listening. That was it. By 7 p.m., I had my tent up and a small, crackling fire going. I pulled out my phone, more out of habit than anything else. No signal, of course. It was normal for this area, but still, something about it just felt off that night. The air was colder than it should have been for this time of year, and I kept hearing these faint sounds from the woods. Branches snapping, but far away, like footsteps that would just stop the second I turned my head to listen. I shook it off, telling myself it was just deer or some other woodland creature. Around 9, I started recording. I set my camera on the tripod and began capturing some slow pans of the trees, their silhouettes dark against the fading sky. I filmed the smoke from my fire rising up in a lazy spiral, and the sound of the crickets, which had finally decided to start their nightly chorus. It was peaceful, or it should have been. Then, something moved in the background of my shot. I saw it out of the corner of my eye on the camera's little screen. I paused the recording and immediately replayed it, and there it was. A figure, maybe about 30 meters away, standing just at the edge where the firelight faded into darkness. It was just standing there, still, watching me. My first thought was it had to be an animal. A big one, maybe a bear. But animals don't stand that still. Not like that, and they definitely don't just vanish the moment you look up from the screen. I looked up, scanning the dark tree line. Nothing. I called out, "Hello? Is anyone there?" Just the crackle of the fire answered me. Total silence. Then, a single, sharp crunch, a footstep. My heart leaped into my throat. I grabbed my powerful flashlight, flucked it on, and aimed it straight ahead, cutting a bright beam through the darkness. Nothing. Just trees. Endless, empty trees. I told myself I was tired, that my mind was playing tricks on me. It happens when you're alone in the woods, right? I decided to call it a night. I zipped up my tent, leaving the fire burning low just in case, and tried my best to get some sleep. But I couldn't. I just lay there, listening. And then, around what must have been midnight, I woke up to a sound that made my blood run cold. It was the sound of my camera shutter going off outside my tent. Click. A short pause. Then, click, again and again. I froze. Every muscle in my body tensed. My camera was on the tripod, right? Pointed at my tent. Someone was out there, taking pictures of me. I didn't move. I could hear my own heart pounding in my ears, a frantic drumbeat against the silence. Then I heard footsteps. They were slow, deliberate, moving around my tent. Crunch. Crunch. The sound of dry leaves and twigs breaking under a heavy weight. A shadow passed right in front of my tent wall. I could see its shape through the thin fabric. It was tall, it had broad shoulders, and it wasn't saying a single word. It was just circling me. After what felt like an eternity, the footsteps stopped. The silence that followed was somehow even more terrifying. And then, I heard it, the slow, metallic rasp of the zipper on my tent door starting to move. I didn't think. I just reacted. I kicked out with everything I had, a pure shot of adrenaline rocketing through me. I grabbed my flashlight, scrambled to the back of the tent, and tore open the rear zipper. I bolted out into the pitch-black woods. Just ran. Branches whipped my face. My own breath burned in my chest, but I didn't stop. I couldn't stop. I ran until I couldn't hear the footsteps anymore, until my lungs felt like they were on fire. I finally dove behind a huge fallen tree, turned off my light, and just waited, trying to make myself as small as possible. Minutes felt like hours. I don't know how long I was there, huddled in the dark. The woods had gone completely dead silent again. Then flash. A blinding white light went off in the distance. My camera flash. It lit up the trees for a split second, and then darkness crashed back in. Someone was still out there, and they still had my camera. They were taking pictures in the dark. I wanted to scream, to cry, but my throat was completely locked up. All I could do was start walking, as quietly as I possibly could, trying to find my way back to the road. Every little sound was amplified 1,000 times. The rustle of leaves under my shoes, my own frantic heartbeat. Even the sound of my breathing felt deafeningly loud. I was sure it was giving me away. Finally, after what felt like forever, I saw a faint glow through the trees. It was the reflective strip on my car. I've never been so happy to see my beat-up sedan. I broke into a run, crashing through the last bit of undergrowth. I didn't look back. I didn't dare. When I got to the car, my relief turned back into a scold fear. The driver's side door was wide open. I never, ever leave my car unlocked, let alone open. And there, sitting on the driver's seat, was my camera. The screen was cracked, but it still turned on. With my hands shaking, I hit the play button. The first few clips were the ones I'd filmed earlier that evening, the trees, the fire, my empty tent. Then, new videos started. Time-stamped around midnight, it was footage of me, sleeping inside the tent. The camera kept zooming in, closer and closer, until my face filled the entire frame. And the very last video, it showed me running, shot from behind. Someone had been following me, recording my escape. I threw the camera onto the passenger seat, slammed the door, started the car, and just drove. I didn't even care which direction I was going. I just floored it, away from that place. I drove until I saw the warm glow of streetlights, houses, other people. When I finally got home, hours later, I tried to check the footage again, to show it to someone, to prove I wasn't crazy. But the SD card was blank, completely wiped clean. I've never gone back to that forest, but sometimes, late at night when the house is quiet, I think I hear it, that same faint click, the sound of a camera shutter just outside my window. And every single time I check, there's nothing there. Nothing but the sound of the wind and the unshakable feeling that someone is still out there, watching. Thanks for listening to my story. If you have any of your own chilling encounters, I'd love to read them in the comments below. Stay safe out there, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.